Well, it's Friday, so you know what that means. It's Facebook Friday Q&A time here on OTR Essential. Thanks to you guys that took to the OTR Essential Facebook page and posted your questions. I'm just going to read through and blow through as many of these as I possibly can. Let's get started. Nick Anderson, would you consider doing a live reaction video of you during a Bears game? I think it would be really entertaining. That's probably something I would consider, maybe for next year. But this year, I really haven't gotten into it that much in terms of my reactions or being very vocal because I've just kind of sat there with uh, a attitude of kind of resignation and acceptance of what was going to happen even before the season started. So there wasn't really that much reason during games for me to get passionate or upset about shit because I knew what was going all along. Keem the Base God Johnson, thoughts on Kevin Owens' WWE NXT debut? Haven't watched the NXT show yet. I will be, and then I'll let you know. Ryan Wojcik, do you think WWE will get multiple matches out of Sting before he retires? I'd like to see him have more than one match. I'm not sure. It might be a one-off for him at WrestleMania. That might very well be the case. And if that's the case, that might be okay too. Have one last swan song on the biggest stage. Sting deserves a WrestleMania match. Sean Anderson, instead of NXT superstars being called up to the main roster, would it be better for main roster superstars to get called down to NXT to further their careers? Well, I think it would be beneficial for all parties involved if you took some of the guys that were on the WWE roster more consistently that weren't being utilized and brought them down to NXT. Because the only way those NXT guys are going to get better and learn the WWE way better is not with wrestling other NXT talent, it's by wrestling against WWE talent. I'm talking about not just like the Scrubs. I'm talking about like the Canes, the Big Shows, the Christians, those type of guys, the Rey Mysterios. Those are the type of guys that when they're not being used on main TV or you don't really have anything big planned for them, you should be bringing them down to NXT. It will bring some life to NXT, and it will also help those guys at the NXT level get better. No question. That's what should be doing, in my opinion. Benedict Infinity Ward, how would James Storm fit in the WWE environment? I don't think very well. I think, frankly, it'd be a square peg in a round hole. Hader Javed, is Stone Cold Steve Austin a future commentator? I don't envision him ever doing that. Could it work? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how good Austin would be as a commentator, but he probably wouldn't be any worse than anything they have right now. Christopher Malero, would you consider stopping watching Raw and starting to watch NXT instead? No. I already tried watching NXT this year, and I gave up on it. So I'm not about to go back to something that I already gave up on watching, and then on top of that, stop watching Raw. Is there a point where I could stop watching Raw every week? Oh, yes. But I wouldn't necessarily be supplementing that with NXT on a full-time basis, I don't believe. I'll be watching the NXT show for this week because there are things I want to see and see how they were done. And, of course, so much of the internet is jizzing themselves over it. I at least want to see what the big deal is all about and whether or not I agree or whether or not I'm going to make fun of a bunch of people for jizzing over the show. So that's what I'll be doing. Luke Winstaley, what do you think it would take to satisfy Stephanie McMahon? If it was me, I would drive a vehicle into her, maybe a bendy bus, and wiggle it about a bit. What would it take to satisfy Stephanie McMahon? Giving her a son, I think, is an easy question to answer. Poor girl. 3 times she's hoped, and 3 times God has given her a daughter. He might have created everything in the universe except a son. And then he also asked, do you think by the time WrestleMania comes, Roman Reigns will be so popular with the ladies that he'll surf down to the ring on a giant wave of pussy batter? That's very possible. Probably already could. Everett Harding, who's the better on-screen heel authority figure? The Mr. McMahon character or NWO Raw GM Eric Bischoff? Mr. McMahon character? That's not even close. Brian Walmer, do you think GFW is making a mistake in going live with Wrestle Kingdom 9 on pay-per-view at 11 p.m. Pacific, 2 a.m. Eastern, and then showing the replay at 4 p.m., 7 p.m. Pacific Eastern? Do you think it will work for them or against them? That's kind of the problem with that Wrestle Kingdom 9 show is the time. I mean, you'll have some of the hardcore wrestling fans, especially some of the younger fans who might already be up at that time anyways. I don't know how well that's going to do for the American audience, I'm just being honest. And, yeah, I'm not really sure. I haven't figured out yet if I'm going to try and watch that show either live or on the replay. I haven't fully decided yet. A lot of people are making a big deal about it, so again, I might check it out, just see what all the fuss is about. I've never really checked out Japanese wrestling, so it might be my chance to do so. Steve Evans, how would you have booked the awful Kane unmasking angle in 2003? One, wouldn't have done it. Two, if it had to be done and there was no other choice and everybody else involved wanted to do it, then I'd make sure he at least got the fucking title out of it. That's what I would make sure. The Rusty Gillespie, in your mind, is it still possible for The Rock versus Brock Lesnar if they have him lose to John Cena at the Rumble, or Rock versus Triple H and Sting versus Undertaker, while Brock versus Reigns? It would all depend on the Rock schedule. It looks like Rock might not be available for WrestleMania 31. So if that's the case, you know, it might put a kink in the Rock versus Brock thing. I think Brock versus Batista is still a possibility. But otherwise, you might be looking at, you know, you talk about Rock versus Triple H. Again, Rock might not be able to wrestle there. Might not be able to work Mania, so that kind of throws a monkey wrench in that. Richard Porter, which wrestler would you like to see come back at the Rumble? You know, somebody I think that would make a good fit would be Goldberg. You'd get a really good entrance. Yeah, I could go with Goldberg. I'd be okay with that. You know, obviously he can't do Sting. He's already appeared. I would have loved to see Sting make his first appearance at a Rumble. But then the problem is the moment would be so awesome that, you know, what are you going to do? Have Sting win the Rumble? You know, so you kind of have that problem. Claude Thomas, your thoughts on the upcoming TLC and Stairs pay-per-view? Yeah. Again, even though I know it, you just had to remind me that TLC was Sunday. Alan Pessin, would you think a Reigns and Rollins feud would work, and how would you book it? I'm not going to get into how I would book it. That takes too long. Would it work? Sure. Why wouldn't it? In theory, it should work. There's the history there. There's the background there. The problem is Rollins being booked the way he currently is. I don't know how well it would work. And with Reigns being booked the way that he is, I don't know how it would work either. I'm just saying. So, let's see here. Irvin Griffith Jr., Mary Fuck Killer pardon between WWE's Naomi, TNA Sanjay, or Sanjay? You mean Sojourner Bolt? Yes, let's go with that. NBC's Tamron Hall and NXT's Sasha Banks. You know, I'd kind of like to give it to Sasha Banks. I'm not going to lie. So I'd put her in the fuck category. The Mary category, and Naomi's are, yeah, I'd steal Uso's bitch. I'd take Naomi. I'd be in the Mary category. Probably Pardon Sojourner Bolt, and then Kill Tamron Hall. I guess I'm drawing a blank on who the fuck that even is. It's not a wrestling girl, so yeah, I'd do that. Richard Porter, will Luna Vachon ever be in the WWE Hall of Fame? Signs don't point to it being that encouraging of a possibility, which is a real shame because she was a real talent, and I always respected Luna because I always thought she got something out of everybody she worked with, and she made everybody better that she worked with. So she definitely deserved it. Far more deserving than fucking Sunny, but you know, that's how it goes. Paul Timus, is NXT WWE's version of Pornhub for the IWC? Possibly. It's a good chance. This man, oh man, I tell you, the reactions to NXT are something else. Put it that way. Okay, let's see here. Dean Hoxton Carroll, how would you debut or treat the Ascension? Not sure yet how I would debut them or treat. Well, I'm not sure how I would debut them. How I would treat them? I would treat them as legitimate threats to the tag titles right away. I would try to actually give these guys story and purpose and reason. I would have loved to have had Rowan and Harper together to send the Ascension at them. So yeah, I mean, I would treat them very well because I think they could work. I think their shtick maybe would translate to WWE shows, maybe. But these guys can go, and these guys can perform, and I think they could work. So I treat them very well. Let's see here. Stephen Pennifield. Do you think it's WWE's fault for making fans care more about the in-ring stuff since WWE is not giving them new stars, good storylines, better Raws, etc.? Yeah, frankly, I mean, I can sit there and give people all types of crap all the time about emphasizing the in-ring components too much and that's it and everything else. But at the end of the day, what else do they fucking really have to grab onto at this point? This is storytelling shit. The booking's crap. There is no star development. Everything else is fucking repetitive and feeling of the old and the suck. And you still have the John Cena problem. So yeah, what the fuck else do fans have to grasp onto than the in-ring aspect, the quality of the in-ring product? That's all they have to grab onto at this point. So I can understand why that gets overrated and emphasized, because it, in a large part, becomes the only justification for watching this bullshit. So as much as I give a lot of you crap and shit, legitimately so, by the way, for only focusing on and only emphasizing the in-ring product, I can't fucking blame you. Because in a lot of ways, it's the only fucking thing you have to grasp onto that still keeps you a professional wrestling fan. Because ROH's storytelling and booking in a lot of ways is shit, as is TNA's, as is WWE's. So if you don't emphasize the in-ring product, then what the fuck are you watching the product for? You don't have a choice. And you've systematically adjusted yourselves to that. You've desensitized yourselves to the other shit by focusing just on this one thing. That's all you have. So what do you have left to grab onto? And that's the truth. It absolutely is. So I'll give you shit about it, and legitimately so. But I can't fucking blame you either, because I understand. Taryn Rooks, do you think the Patriots have a chance of winning the Super Bowl? Sure they do. Sure they do. Will they? I don't know. I don't think so. But they have a chance. They definitely have a chance to make it there. Andy Nielsen, has Vince gone insane or become senile or both? Or both. He's insane, but he's also senile. As he's gotten older, he's decreased in the patience area. He's become even more out of touch, and it's scary. Thomas Adams, what would you rather see? Randy Orton versus John Cena for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 31, or Jerry Lawler versus JR in a ladder match? Hey, this is not even a question. A Breakfast Club main event between Orton and Cena? No thanks. I'll take Lawler and JR in a ladder match, and let's see what happens. It could be all types of train wreck awesome. Dennis Sidron, favorite non-Big Four pay-per-view event of all time? Specific event or just pay-per-view? In terms of pay-per-view, I'll go with King of the Ring. Because that was, the big five, if you will. And that, to me, is the one I miss. I think the company misses it as well. Alberto Torres, what's worse, the last few Raw shows or watching Undertaker versus Giant Gonzalez from 1993? Might be a push. Well, pretty bad. Gerard Jazz Montague, what's stiffer, Stan Hansen's lariat, Dino Bravo's corpse, or Pat Patterson's dick in the male locker room? The first two are pretty stiff, but I don't know if it gets any stiffer than shriveled up old Pat Patterson penis in a male locker room. Gerard Montague asks, this is awesome. When Bret Hart eventually dies, will he only die in the States as he wouldn't put death over in Canada? I'm from Calgary. I'm not going to do the job in Montreal. Be like me saying I'm from fucking Illinois, so I'm not losing this match in Florida. What the fuck? He said he's not putting death over into Canada. Yeah, probably would be in the States. That's awesome. Oh, man. All right, that's a perfect way to end this Q&A. Thanks, you guys that took to Facebook and posted your questions. I'll be back Monday with another Q&A. Got some other content coming up this weekend that you won't want to miss, including the TLC 2014 review. So stay tuned for all that here on Untitled Chapter.